Hello everyone! Today we are at a very special recording place. We are near Baker Beach in San Francisco. You can see Golden Gate Bridge behind. Hi, I'm your host Olivia.
Hi, I'm Chao. I'm your co-host.
Yeah, welcome to another week of Zero Crypto Valley Web3 Insights explained by us. So Chao, how's your week?
Yeah, it's pretty good. There's lots of things happened on internet, so we're busy tracking all those news.
Yeah,
and try to give out insights.
We probably tried the Ghibli Studio one. They are with OpenAI. They are making a lot of interesting image regeneration. You can make your image looks like exactly like Ghibli Studio work. That's one very interesting. Another one is a really big news in the bio data industry, like 23andme. They are selling.
Yeah, I think 23andme went bankrupt or going to go bankrupt. So they have like millions and millions of human
Genetic data.
Yeah, genetic data there.
That's a very
big news. I mean, not all, so many people's very private gene information.
Yeah. So company like this, for example, they started many years ago when our user data privacy awareness is very low. So we tend to just give away information without even notice. But for example, you are giving away your biometric information. And now the company goes bankrupt. And I know there is a blockchain company is trying to have really boldest purchasing.
I think for this case, like using the blockchain technology is actually a very good solution. Yeah, because we talk about this like in last episode, decentralized identification. Then each person, I mean, like bio information, like if it could be owned by each individual, then such kind of things like when this big company went bankrupt, but it was organized or stored through the DID through on-chain, so it will not become such a big problem right now.
Yeah. So I'm actually like very interested in seeing more story, like synergy between Web2, like mainstream adopted company or product, and then right now Web3 company is trying to Web3fy them, bring them on chain. For example, 23andme, they attract so many mainstream users, like customers. And then right now, bring this blockchain idea to them is very great for mainstream awareness and adoption. So we don't know what's going to happen next, but we definitely want to make sure they have making some significant progression into secure data.
Yeah, maybe we should suggest them to series consider the blockchain technology to store their genes information. Yeah.
So that's a really true ownership. Your data is safe within your control.
Yeah.
But that's about this week's news. I think we want to make sure another thing is another strong and interesting concept today we want to talk about is DePin. So what is DePin?
So DePin stands for the decentralized physical infrastructure network. So it actually refers to a concept or emerging model in which the physical infrastructure, that could be your computer, storage, bandwidth, or other physical devices, that is decentralized, but they're organized, then they can provide the service that the traditional infra network, but through the blockchain.
Okay. So if I'm just trying to understand, in traditional world, we have so many physical infrastructure, like data center, computing system, whichever, like even telecom companies, those tower, everything. But in traditional, it's controlled by large company, like everything else. But you are saying in DePin world, the infrastructure is distributed across different networks, right?
Yeah. So in the DePin model, the infrastructures are distributed across a large number of entities, could be individuals. Often it's much smaller, compared to the traditional centralized company. So these all those participants, that they can contribute their resources, like I said, like servers, the bandwidth or storage to the network. Then through this way, they could provide the service in a decentralized manner.
So it's a very advanced, innovative concept. So, but can you tell me, as a person who want to participate, what are some tangible benefit or strong value proposition? Either how this work or what are some good benefit for me to play?
Yeah. So that's actually the charm of the blockchain. So this way it's decentralized. There's no like a central company to own or coordinate these things. They utilize a blockchain. So they use a smart contract to execute the agreement and reward the participant who
rewards.
Through the token who contribute the resources and ensure that the systems that remain decentralized provide the secure or transparent service. So every participant or distributor, like those small entities or individual, when they provide their services to devices, physical devices to provide the service, mostly they were going to get rewarded through the token. It's like they got incentivized to provide the token. That's also the advantage of the DePin network. You do not need like the traditional company. You need to invest a huge amount of money as a fixed cost to build the infrastructure. In DePin world, everyone just use their device to contribute this network to provide a service. The cost investment is much smaller than the traditional way. The project can bootstrap it at a very efficient and cost much.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of interesting points you brought. First, it's very much more efficient in cost. And also, like participant is in a very contribute to the network, and you also help offload some pressure currently, basically around the like centralized system.
So in this way, actually, I also want to emphasize because it's decentralized. There's no central company. Then the individual who contribute don't get the reward. So they own their device and they get the reward. I believe they will get a much bigger proportion of that service compared to the traditional way.
Yeah, that's interesting. So DePin is just a general concept on decentralized physical infrastructure. What are some sectors are most popular? I heard a company is the most well-known is called Helium, and they are in the wireless network space. And you mentioned they work with T-Mobile? Or?
Yeah, so they have a very broad use. I'm a little bit nerdy, so I want to cite the Missouri DePin report. So currently, there's so many sectors like energy, like the computer network, then the storage, then the wireless, then the bandwidth. So there's so many fields that can provide the DePin.
Hi everyone, so we lost our video, now we're back. So it's getting really dark outside, but we really want to finish this video. Helium. Helium is the most famous DePin project I know, and they are in the wireless network sector, right? So I know they've been working with a big company. They got a really strong recognition and some adoption by other business. So maybe tell us what is Helium and how does that work as DePin?
Helium, I think it's started quite a long time ago. I will just say how it operates. You all heard about like the hotspot. They provide a device, a physical device. You can put it inside of your house or put outside your house like antenna. Then it serves as a hotspot. You can they can distribute or provide the data transfer. I think the network in America is really strong. I will give a very specific example what the DePin project could provide. Just using Helium. I think 2 years ago, there is like a Helium mobile project. It's like Helium mobile. So like a
telecommunication,
like the cell phone service. So like $20 a month, then you can get unlimited phone call and data transfers using a cell phone. How that actually worked?
Physical.
With a physical cell phone. It so much feel like when marketing for them. Like you buy a cell phone from some like either Apple or LG, and then you download the Helium app from the Apple Store and subscribe this service. How that works is for the Helium hotspot providers, when they provide this kind of data service, they will get the token. So the service they get is you use this kind of service to actually perform the mobile data service.
User, I can basically decide I want to use the Helium services and I'm getting token as a participant, and I'm also only paying $20 per month for phone call and data.
No, it's a separate thing. I mean, you can just get the token, provide the hotspot service.
Okay.
But the Helium, this protocol or company, based on this kind of DePin network, they are providing the Helium mobile that based on the service the DePin network provided, they actually provided the mobile service. And it's much cheaper and reliable. Also, the same level of reliable like the T-Mobile or AT&T service.
That's great.
Yeah. And you cannot you will not feel the difference.
And that's $20.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's cheaper than the AT&T.
Yeah, especially in the big city, telecom bill is really high.
Yeah.
For no reason, it's usually monopoly. You don't have other choices.
Yeah.
You can only buy from
because it's like the provide the hotspot service. I mean, when you go to like a concert, there are so many people using the cell phone. Many times the signal get congested. But in this kind of situation, Helium actually contribute some kind of the data transfer, offset the congestion.
Yeah.
So it could be used either in a very crowded urban setting or very remote area in which very hard to be covered by those kind of traditional company network. The Helium hotspot is actually fill that gap there.
That's really useful. Is that also, I think that's a very easy way to get mainstream adopter because that's a real problem.
Yeah, and it's a really people can see that's a use case. Yeah. They do not need to know the crypto very complicated back end structure.
Yeah, that's really good. So Helium is something we are following and found is a really strong use case. Anything else?
So Helium is like the most famous example, but just like I said, right now there's hundreds of new DePin projects, like in the computer space, in the energy space. I mean, especially now for the AI revolution developed so rapid, so they need lots of computer power, and you cannot. I mean, we all talk about the chip shortage and the computing capacity shortage. So based on a centralized company, it's very limited. And we can use actually the DePin or decentralized blockchain can provide an alternative solution or like provide some contribution there. They can use the entity or individual's idle computing power to utilize them, create a decentralized computer platform, provide a similar service like either storage or the computing things. Yeah.
I think that's a really like strong use cases. And you mentioned there are so many different sector, subcategories, subvertical, and with this AI, right? Yeah, that's a today. And we are continue to explore more interesting use cases. And we are also looking for founders are building companies and they want to share their journey.
Yeah. I mean, DePin is such a huge utilization. We'll keep talking about all different kinds of interesting protocols and use case. Yeah. So more is coming.
More is coming. And it's getting really dark. We are about to fade into the darkness. I'm about to fade into darkness. So thank you for continued support and to our podcast and the content. We are also looking for like any covering your story or any studio place you want to provide or host us.
Yes. Okay. So see you next time.
See you next time.